Hello, I'm Abby, and I'm the content manager here at Hubspot Academy. A lot of work goes into creating a single piece of content: research, planning, editing, and more. Then after the content's done, there's promotion work, reporting, the list goes on. As a content professional, you need to publish a lot of content for each of your buyer personas at different stages of the buyer's journey. This can feel laborious or complicated, especially if you're working solo. But a content creation framework that's repeatable, organized, and agile can make the creation process smoother and more rewarding. A content creation framework is a structure of processes for publishing content, from the beginning stages to post-publication. Are you thinking a framework for creating content, but won't that hurt creativity? No. With a framework in place, your team can foster creative ideas in an organized, scalable manner. A framework strikes that perfect balance between autonomous creativity and long-term content sustainability. As an example of a very basic content creation framework, let's take a look at HubSpot Academy's user blog. The user blog aims to educate and inspire HubSpot users to reach their inbound business goals with the HubSpot software. We have a diverse group of subject matter experts contributing articles. We also have a variety of editors to make sure the articles are the best they can be before publication. Then we need to take into consideration the topics we feature, the customers and partners who will contribute articles, and some ad hoc content to educate our readers on HubSpot updates and news. That's a lot of moving parts. So to keep things organized, we have a framework. Let's take a look. This is the user blog's editorial calendar. It's organized in a Google Sheet. I create each month's calendar 1 month in advance so that all writers and editors get plenty of notice before their deadline. The publish date and publish time are documented so that editors know what date and time to schedule their posts for publication. Then there's the due date column. This is the date the writer needs to submit their article by. This way, each editor gets a full week to review the article. This is especially important since our editors are either freelance editors with a lot of content to juggle, or they're volunteer editors here at HubSpot who have full-time jobs. The writer is responsible for writing their article and getting it in on time, so their name is documented in the responsible column. In the blog post title column, writers enter their proposed title, or if they don't have a title in mind yet, they enter a quick blurb on what they plan to cover. Then in the description column, they enter a short sentence or two about what their article will explore. The next column asks writers to enter a word or two about what HubSpot tools or products their post highlights. This way, I can make sure writers create articles that will educate and inspire HubSpot users. Also, the editor will use these words as tags when they edit the blog post. The status column reflects what stage in the creation process the blog post is in. Pending, the slot may be filled by an article, but the writer hasn't confirmed yet. Confirmed, the slot has been filled with an article and confirmed by the writer. Submitted, the writer has submitted their article for editing. Scheduled, the editor has reviewed the article and scheduled it for publication. Published, the article is live. Lastly, the editor column lists the name of the person who will be editing each article. This way, the writer and editor can communicate before, during, or after the editing process to make sure everything's in order for publication. So that's one example of what a content creation framework looks like for content in the short term, planned 1 month out. You also might want to create a long-term content creation framework where you plan content up to a few months to a year in advance. Why would you want to plan content this far ahead? Well, you need to serve your audience's needs and educate them over time depending on what they're looking for. For example, I used to be a technical writer here at HubSpot. Our readers were looking for information on how to use their HubSpot tools. On our team, we needed to create content and publish it quickly to align with product releases. So to make sure we could update our current articles and create new ones on time, I worked closely with our product team to keep track of all upcoming product changes and new releases. These were usually planned up to a few months and sometimes a year in advance. So we planned our content to align with those timelines. We used Trello boards to keep track of how changes were moving through the product team's pipeline. When a change was coming closer to launch, the technical writers had time to collect content for updating and write drafts of new content to educate users about the releases. These releases also involved product announcements, blog posts, emails, and other forms of content to serve a variety of personas. So we all needed to work together and stick to our long-term content creation framework. When you're planning your content for a month or even a year in advance, remain flexible to account for the changes that will inevitably come up. Sometimes campaigns, timelines, and personas will need to be adjusted. With a framework for creating content, you'll give your team the tools, processes, and structure they need to do their best work.
Chúng ta sẽ cùng điểm lại một vài từ mới nha. Go into, được đầu tư vào, dành cho. Laborious, tốn nhiều công sức. Agile, linh hoạt. Foster, thúc đẩy, khuyến khích phát triển. Inbound marketing, chiến lược thu hút khách hàng bằng cách cung cấp nội dung hữu ích thay vì chủ động làm phiền họ bằng quảng cáo. Gloves, đa dạng, phong phú. Subject matter expert, chuyên gia trong một lĩnh vực cụ thể. Ad hoc, phát sinh. There's a lot of moving parts, có quá nhiều thứ cần phải quản lý cùng một lúc. Juggle, thung hứng, xử lý nhiều việc cùng lúc. Get something in, nộp, gửi đến. A quick blurb, một đoạn tóm tắt nhanh. In order, đúng trật tự, ngăn nắp, sẵn sàng. To keep track of, theo dõi, nắm bắt. Stick to, tuân theo, bám sát. To account for, tính đến, dự liệu. Inevitably, chắc chắn, không thể tránh khỏi. Like và subscribe để đón chờ những video tiếp theo của mình nha.